iPhone 6 versus Moto G5 Plus. That's coming up right now. Let's go. So what is up, guys? This is Nick here from Everything Tech, help you to master your technology, and welcome to the Apple iPhone 6 versus the Moto G5 Plus. Now, the intention of this video is to help you decide if you want to upgrade from your iPhone 6 or if you're deciding to pick up an iPhone 6 for the first time or a Moto G5 Plus. These guys are actually more similar in the price point than you might think. You can find iPhone 6s for right around 200 to 300 bucks. I wouldn't spend more than 250 for an iPhone 6. I actually wouldn't even recommend you get one, but if this is a choice you're making, that's why this video is created. The G5 Plus can be had from anywhere from 230 bucks to 299 respectively. So let's talk about the build quality first of all. So in terms of the build quality, with the iPhone 6 you do get the aluminum body. This is the 6000 series aluminum though, so this is the one that had the bending issue, but I think that was a little bit overhyped. But I did notice that the iPhone 6s definitely does have a stronger aluminum, but overall this design is getting rather old, a little bit dated in my opinion, but it still feels premium and sleek, and it's very thin here for the iPhone 6. There is a little bit of a gap between the display here and the body, so this is not the best constructed iPhone I've ever seen, the iPhone 6, but hey, it's still, you know, 4.7 inch screen and pretty large here. Now, I think the Moto G5 Plus is very durable feeling. It doesn't feel extremely premium. The iPhone 6 definitely feels a little more premium around the edges. They feel about the same on the back. So the Moto G5 Plus does have an aluminum feel on the back here, and this Motorola logo actually feels nice and premium as well, unlike this Apple logo right here that just feels kind of like a mirror-like finish. But around the edges of the Moto G5 Plus, it's pretty plastic. I've mentioned this in previous videos, but that durable plastic will take a drop. So I think the Moto G5 Plus definitely has a better build quality than the iPhone 6 in terms of durability. The iPhone 6 feeling a little bit more sleeker. They are about the same size. The Moto G5 Plus slightly taller, slightly wider. The G5 Plus is probably closer to a phablet style feeling phone though. So let's go ahead and boot these guys up at the same time in 3, 2, 1. And my iPhone 6 does run iOS 10.3, and the Moto G5 Plus does run Android 7.0 Nougat. Now, the G5 Plus does take a little bit of time to boot up because it does have this "Hello Moto," you know, little thing it does. So they put like this little boot animation that makes it actually slower to boot up. I wish Motorola wouldn't have did that, but it's a cool little colorful effect, and it's pretty cool to watch while it's booting up here. But I am not running the official or the beta 10.3.2 yet here for the iPhone 6, so this is definitely booting up quicker here for the iPhone 6. And there's that animation I was talking about there for Moto G5 Plus, says by Lenovo, and you can see it's definitely a good 10 to 15 seconds behind the boot up on the iPhone 6 there. So I think if they would have scrapped out that little Motorola boot logo, everything would have been good here. So boot definitely goes to the iPhone 6. So here on the iPhone 6 we get the tried and true iOS 10 here. This is 10.3 specifically on this device. Android 7.0 Nougat here for the Moto G5 Plus. And in terms of software, I do think they are exactly equal because I think stock Android is the most cleanest version of Android, like compared to iOS. That's just my take on it. Some people might like Huawei's UI, they might like LG's UI or Samsung's UI more than stock Android. But in terms of fluidity and buttery smoothness, if that's even a phrase, that is how I think that Android stock feels here for the Moto G5 Plus. So very well done here in terms of the software on the Moto G5 Plus. It feels just as liquid smooth as iOS 10 here. Now we can't do a comparison video without speaking of the cameras. Now on the iPhone 8 you get that 8 megapixel iSight camera that was found in the iPhone 5 and 5S, slightly improved here for the iPhone 6. And I'm gonna bring in my new SD card for some new videos later and snap a quick picture on here and see how that looks. And then we're gonna snap the same picture there for the Moto G5 Plus. So here's the G5 Plus with its 12 megapixel camera that they claim is a similar sensor to the one that's found in the Galaxy S7. But being a Galaxy S7 user, I can tell you right now, this camera doesn't impress me nearly like the Galaxy S7 did. So let's go ahead and snap that same picture here for the Moto G5 Plus. Let me zoom out. I think I'm zoomed in too far. And let's come out a little bit here. And let's go ahead and check these pictures out. So on camera, they look about the same. I do think that the iPhone 6 shoots sharper pictures than the Moto G5 Plus, even though this is a higher megapixel camera. Now let's zoom in here and see what kind of detail we can get in on this guy right here. So you can see pretty well detailed there for the Moto G5 Plus, but it's just a little bit better there on the iPhone 6. Now in terms of video, the iPhone 6 actually shoots pretty stellar video as well. The Moto G5 Plus can shoot in 4K, so I'm definitely gonna have to give the video round to the Moto G5 Plus. Now overall, which camera is the better camera? I think overall the iPhone 6 probably has a better camera than the Moto G5 Plus, but it's really close to call. You could call them about equal. So camera is not the main deciding factor here between both of these devices. In terms of storage, the Moto G5 Plus starts out at 32 gigs. The iPhone 6 comes in at 16, 64, as well as 128. Skip the 16 gig iPhone 6 if you're deciding to get one. If you're going with the G5 Plus, it kind of doesn't really matter if you get 32 or 64 gigs due to the fact that you do have the ability to expand the memory here on the seal. So if I pull this guy out right here, the SIM tray, you can see there's a slot for SIM as well as a slot for SD card. So you just flip them around, you got your SIM on one side and you got your SD card on the other side. So you can expand the memory here for the Moto G5 Plus, making this a much more functional, practical device in terms of those of you who are going to be storing a lot of pictures and videos on your device. It makes it very useful there for, you know, a phone of this caliber to have those kind of features is nice to see. So storage, in my opinion, goes to the Moto G5 Plus. All right guys, so here's a round where, you know, the Moto G5 Plus just absolutely annihilates the iPhone 6, and I'm sure you're guessing what it is. It's battery life. The battery life on the iPhone 6 definitely never got me through a day, whereas the Moto G5 Plus easily gets me through a day with Android Nougat battery saving features such as those, as well as the turbo charger that is included in the box, and a 3000 milliamp hour battery in a phone that's only stretches 5.2 inches, doesn't even run a 2K display, and a very efficient OS. The Moto G5 Plus is a killer on battery life. So battery life, you're going to be very happy with what you get out of the Moto G5 Plus, whereas I think you're going to be a little bit disappointed in what you get out of the iPhone 6. That's just my experience. You might have a different experience, and if you do, drop that down below. These, like I said, just my opinion based on what I've used in the past. Now, the Moto G5 Plus's power charger actually tops this guy off really quickly here too. So if you need battery in a pinch and you want to use the charger on the Moto G5 Plus, it's going to make you happy because it topped off from me. The other day I had it at 80%. It went from 80 to 100 in about 10 minutes. So it's pretty quick in terms of charging the phone. Now the iPhone 6 standard lightning port, it's going to take about an hour and 20, maybe an hour and 30 to charge from 0 to 100. All right guys, so we talked about some of the key areas, but now let's do a quick app speed test of the iPhone 6 versus the Moto G5 Plus. So if I go ahead and show you everything is closed out here, we do have a Snapdragon 625 octa-core CPU with 2 GB of RAM there for the Moto G5 Plus. Apple A8 CPU clocked in at 1.3 gigahertz with 1 gig of RAM, iOS 10.3 on the iPhone 6. Let's go into Appy Geek on both devices. 750p display here for the iPhone 6, whereas we have a 1080p display here, full HD for the Moto G5 Plus. Let's go into Instagram. And you go to follow me on Instagram. Looks like the Moto G5 Plus took that one. Coming home here, you can see I do post stuff related to the channel on Instagram, so you can follow me at that place down below in the description. App Store, Play Store here, and you can see the Moto G5 Plus. So the G5 Plus looks to open apps faster so far. Let's go into YouTube on both devices, and you can see, looks like the iPhone 6 comes back swinging. Coming home, let's go into Amazon. And looks like the Moto G5 Plus for the win. Let's go into eBay. And the Moto G5 Plus takes the iPhone 6 on eBay. Coming home here, let's go into Twitter on both devices. And you can see, looks like the Moto G5 Plus there, and now the iPhone 6, which took forever. So let's go into Strava on both devices and Moto G5 Plus. Waiting on the iPhone 6, so let's go into camera on both devices. iPhone 6 is going to take that one. Let's go into Best Buy and let's deny that, and you can see that we're still waiting on the 6 coming home here. Let's go into Play Newsstand. So the moral we're seeing here is that, you know, Moto G5 Plus opens apps first on the first tap. So there it goes again, beating the iPhone 6 on that speed test. Going into Wikipedia here, you can see Moto G5 Plus in Play Store, or did I say Play Store? Google Chrome as well as Safari here. And let's go here. Let's go into speed test on all of these devices, and you could see iPhone 6 there. So they're trading blows. Now let's go into multitasking. iPhone 6. So here is where the iPhone 6 comes back, is in the multitasking. It holds apps a little bit better. That one was even there. Let's go into YouTube. iPhone 6 again. Let's go into Amazon. So RAM management is definitely disappointing here for me on the Moto G5 Plus, as you've seen right there. Twitter. This half a second, it's not really going to change your life or anything like that, but it does get annoying if you're someone who uses your phone pretty heavily. So let's go into camera. You could see the iPhone 6. So all around the board, it looks like the iPhone 6 is just taking the Moto G5 to school here on multitasking. Play newsstand, coming home, Google, and we don't got to do much more of this. The iPhone 6 is the better RAM management. The Moto G5 Plus opens app first on the first tap. So overall, in terms of speed, I think that, they're kind of evenly matched. I think the Moto G5 Plus, if you use both of these devices, definitely feels a little bit more fluid, a little bit more snappier than the iPhone 6. Even though you've seen that little app test between a second or two, the G5 Plus definitely feels snappier in everyday use than the iPhone 6. So let's go ahead and wrap this video up of the iPhone 6 versus the Moto G5 Plus by talking about some of the strengths of the iPhone 6 that it has over the Moto G5 Plus. So the iPhone 6 has guaranteed updates going forward. We don't know about with the Lenovo acquisition of Motorola, it's not Google owned anymore, so they've been a little bit slacking behind on updates like they used to be on point every time an update came out. So guaranteed updates with the iPhone 6, we might not get that on the Lenovo. Stable, reliable performance here for the iPhone 6. Now you could say you can have that on the Moto G5 Plus, and I think that's a strength too for the G5 Plus, but you're definitely getting some stable performance here for the iPhone 6 here, and the cheapest iPhone at the big screen price. So what I mean is 4.7-inch screen. This is the cheapest way you can get a 4.7-inch iPhone, is the iPhone 6. So that's what I think you have to think about if you're going to be buying an iPhone 6. Those are the strengths in my opinion there. Now for the Moto G5 Plus, the strengths are you get a bigger full HD high definition display. So it has a higher pixel density than the iPhone 6, so the text is sharper, it's easier on the eyes, and it's a bigger display. You also get the advantage of a lower price point. I mean, for what you get, the iPhone 6, you're gonna find it used for around the same price as a brand new Moto G5 Plus. Plus expandable storage makes the G5 Plus a cheaper investment as well. Also, you get turbocharging or fast charging for the Moto G5 Plus. So those are my strengths for the Moto G5 Plus, and I actually think it's the better choice here of these two phones. So that pretty much wraps it up of the iPhone 6 versus the Moto G5 Plus. Now, of course, we're talking about iOS versus Android here. So if you're somebody watching this video and you just wanted to see the iPhone 6, we know you're not even gonna buy the Moto G5 Plus, but you just wanted to see how the iPhone 6 stacks up. The G5 Plus, in my opinion and my experience, is a better phone. And if I had a choice, I'd pick the Moto G5 Plus over the iPhone 6. Now, if you really want Apple iOS and you want it at a cheap price and you want a big screen, the iPhone 6 is pretty much the only way to go. People can say, I know someone's gonna say in the comments to get the iPhone 6s. Sure, the iPhone 6s is a great deal as well. It's still a great smartphone, but the iPhone 6 is a couple $100 cheaper than the iPhone 6s. So this is more, I think, comparable than the 6s to the Moto G5 Plus. But anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section of this video. Which one would you pick, the iPhone 6 or the Moto G5 Plus? I'd like to know that down below. Hit the video thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I will catch you all in the next one. Nick here, help you to master your technology. Be sure to be well, and peace.